The Meridian space station orbited the neutral zone between human and Xeline territories, a bustling marketplace where two civilizations attempted coexistence after decades of bitter war. Adam Chen worked the third shift at Cargo Bay 7, managing supply deliveries for the station's diverse population. It was honest work, if lonely, and he preferred it that way. He first noticed the thefts 3 weeks after the ceasefire. Small things at first. A protein pack here, a nutrition cube there. Nothing significant enough to report, but consistent enough to form a pattern. Adam began staying late, pretending to review inventory logs while watching the shadows between the towering cargo containers. That's when he saw her. She was Xeline, unmistakably so, with the characteristic violet skin and luminescent markings that traced delicate patterns along her arms. Young, probably no older than 17 in human years. Her movements were careful, practiced, but there was a desperation in them that made Adam's chest tighten. She wore tattered clothing that had once been fine, now stained and worn. Her name, he would later learn, was Elena. Adam watched as she slipped a small ration pack into her satchel, her bioluminescent markings dimming with what he recognized as shame. Every species expressed emotion differently, but suffering was universal. He could have stopped her. Should have, according to station protocols. Theft was theft, regardless of the perpetrator's species. The war might have ended, but trust remained fragile. One Xeline caught stealing could reignite tensions that had cost millions of lives. Instead, Adam began leaving packages in specific locations. He made it look accidental. A crate left partially open. Supplies positioned near ventilation shafts she used to navigate unseen. He varied the contents. Nutrient supplements compatible with Xeline physiology, medical supplies he requisitioned through creative inventory management, even clothing he purchased with his own credits from the station's exchange. Elena never took more than she needed. That detail mattered to Adam. She wasn't greedy. She was surviving. For 2 months, their silent exchange continued. Adam left supplies. Elena took them. He never confronted her, never let her know he was aware. There was an odd comfort in their unspoken arrangement, a small rebellion against the bureaucracy and prejudice that still poisoned both their peoples. Then one night she didn't come. Adam waited until his shift ended, anxiety gnawing at him. He told himself it didn't matter, that she'd probably found another source or left the station entirely. But he couldn't shake the image of those dimming markings, that desperate grace. He broke protocol and accessed the station's refugee registry. There were thousands of displaced Xeline, families torn apart by the war. But he filtered for recent medical emergencies. One entry made his blood run cold. Xeline female, elderly, critical condition, respiratory failure. Next of kin, Elena Vexthor. The medical ward was in the lower decks, where most refugees were housed in cramped quarters far from the station's affluent sections. Adam had never ventured there, had unconsciously avoided confronting the war's aftermath too directly. Now he moved through corridors that smelled of disinfectant and despair, past families huddled in corners, past children with eyes that had seen too much. He found Elena sitting outside a sealed medical unit, her head resting against the transparent aluminum window. Inside, an older Xeline woman lay connected to machines that hummed and beeped with mechanical indifference. "She's dying," Elena said without looking up. Her English was accented but clear. "The doctors say they've done everything they can. Her lungs were damaged in the bombardment of our colony. There's treatment, but..." She laughed bitterly. "We can't afford it. Refugees aren't covered under the station's medical provisions." Adam sat beside her, maintaining respectful distance. "I know," he said quietly. She turned to him then, recognition dawning in her large, dark eyes. "You're the human. From the cargo bay. Adam Chen. You knew. All this time you knew I was stealing." "Yes." Silence stretched between them, filled only by the medical equipment's persistent rhythm. "Why?" Elena's voice broke. "We destroyed your colonies. Killed your people. My father was a commander in the fleet that attacked Proxima Station. He died believing humans were monsters. And you helped me." Adam thought about his own losses, his brother gone in the war's final days, his parents who'd never recovered from the grief. He thought about the easy path of hatred, how simple it would be to let another species shoulder the blame for suffering he'd never chosen. "Because you needed help," he said finally. "And because if we can't find a way past what happened, the war never really ends." Elena's markings flickered. Cycling through colors Adam had learned meant profound emotion. It's not enough. The treatment costs more than I'll earn in 5 years. Adam pulled out his datapad. He'd been saving for years, planning to eventually return to Earth, to start over somewhere the stars didn't remind him of burning ships. The number in his account was substantial by any measure. How much does she need? No. Elena grabbed his arm, her grip surprisingly strong. I can't accept— You're not accepting charity, Adam interrupted. You're accepting what's right. Your mother didn't start the war. Neither did you. Neither did I or my brother. But we all paid for it. Maybe it's time we invest in something else. The tears that fell from Elena's eyes were bioluminescent, tracing glowing paths down her cheeks. Why? She whispered again. Adam smiled, thinking of all the careful arrangements, the stolen moments of connection across an impossible divide. Because someone once told me that humanity's greatest strength isn't our weapons or our technology. It's our stubborn refusal to accept that kindness is weakness. He transferred the funds before he could reconsider. Elena's mother survived. The treatment took weeks, but gradually the machines came away, replaced by natural breath and returning strength. Adam visited them sometimes, bringing food that was no longer stolen, sharing stories that slowly built bridges over chasms of pain. Other humans noticed. Others, Aline noticed. Some approved. Many didn't. But slowly, carefully, more bridges began to form. Years later, when historians discussed the true end of the human-Zillian war, they would point to treaties and peace accords. But those who were there, who lived through those tentative first steps toward reconciliation, knew the truth. Peace didn't begin in government chambers. It began in cargo bays and medical wards, in small acts of defiance against hatred, in the stubborn human insistence that compassion could survive even the worst atrocities. It began when Adam Chen chose to see a frightened girl instead of an enemy, and when Elena Vexthor learned that sometimes the measure of a species isn't found in their capacity for destruction, but in their courage to heal. The supplies continued appearing in Cargo Bay 7, no longer taken in darkness but shared in daylight. And two people from opposite sides of an impossible divide discovered that humanity, true humanity, recognized no borders except those we chose to dismantle, one act of kindness at a time.